What's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of the Cigars and Everything Else podcast. We're in episode 49 today. I got my partner D, the co-host, and my name is Jared. We're going to get into some cigar talk and a little bit of everything else.
A little bit of everything else? Let's do it.
Where we at, man? What we got to do episode 49? Who we got today?
All right, so look, we get into those numbers. I know when we get to 50, we might be straight. But 49 is a little bit challenging. You know what I'm saying? We've been getting to some challenging numbers lately. Yeah. So I had to do some digging, man. So this one we're going to highlight. We're going to highlight a gentleman who had a 10-year career coming off the bench for the Miami Heat. Won a championship with them in 2006. Went to the finals with the Utah Jazz. Final minute in the game 6 of 97 with the Utah Jazz, D'd up Scottie Pippen. Gave him the business off the bench. I don't know who he is. You might not know who he is. But the gentleman's name is Shandon Anderson, number 49. I was reading over him, and I'm just reading this little blurb about the finals against Scottie Pippen. And, you know what I'm saying? Stole the ball from Pippen on the inbound pass.
Is he a light-skinned dude?
Let me look at this picture real quick. Where's this picture?
It was only like 3 or 4 black dudes on the Jazz, and Karl Malone was two of them. Right. So
it was 2 of them. Him and Byron.
Byron Russell.
Yeah,
Byron Russell.
Brian Russell. Yeah. Oh, look at my man with the highlights. I should show y'all the highlights right now. I'm watching highlights.
Yeah, it is him, man.
He was like a regular brown skin dude.
Yeah. I remember this dude, man. I didn't know he played for the Heat, though. But yeah, I remember this cat.
Played for the Heat. One guy, he got a ring, man. Come on, went to the finals.
So what?
Got a ring? And you don't know who he is.
Didn't Gary Payton get a ring on that team, too?
He did. But shout out to
you remember him?
I do remember him. I do remember him on the team.
Man, Peyton can't claim no chip with me. I don't want to hear Peyton brag about his chip.
Hey, so how do you feel about that? Before we go too deep into the show or whatever, just real quick, how do you feel about players in their twilight chasing the ring and then getting that ring? You kind of alluded to it with Gary Payton. Like, is that across the board for mostly your NBA players or even football players who go chase the ring? They get on that team that they know it has a really good chance and they finally get it done, but they couldn't do it when they were the number one option on the team?
It means nothing to me as a fan. Gary Payton chip mean as much as Bill Wennington's chip. It's the same thing to me. You know what I'm saying? Like, if what's my man name? I can't even think of one of them scrubs from the Bulls, but if he come to me and be like, yo, Judd Bushler be like, yeah, I got these 3 rings. I'd be like, yo, get out of my face, brother. Politely and respectfully, get out of my face. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
well, okay, well, how do you feel about somebody like Robert Ory or John Sally?
That's different. They different.
Because they had a defined role, maybe?
Yes. And don't get me wrong, Judd Bushler had a role. Bill Wennington had a role. Gary Payton had a role. But was it?
At least Robert Ory was putting in big shots to win chips.
Them chips wouldn't have been won without Ory. First of all, you know what I'm saying? So it's totally different, you know. And as far as my man, daggone, I forgot his name already. You just said it from Pistons.
John Sally.
John Sally. Yeah. I want to give John his credit because maybe because I like him. Maybe I'm being biased. I don't know. You know what I'm saying? I like Gary Payton too. You know what I'm saying? But I don't know. Maybe I'm being biased. But John tended to have a valuable role wherever he went.
Yeah. He got it done. He was doing. Yeah. He did what he had to do.
I think it's all really defined. And could that chip have been won without you? You know what I'm saying? Like, I just don't.
All right. Before we get to the start,
Andre Iguodala was important to his chip in
he was.
Golden
He
State.
got an MVP. He got an MVP out of the deal.
That's
the first one, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, he did get an MVP, but I wasn't even talking about that one. But yeah, definitely important to that. You know what I'm saying? But these play, I don't know, man. It's case by case is how I weigh it, man. You know, I'm sorry, GP. You're not memorable from your run in the Heat. You know what I'm saying? Therefore, you got it, but you can't brag about it. Just wear it in silence.
No props to Shandon Anderson for two finals appearances. Well, maybe 3. He might have had 3. Just 2? I think he only got 2. He only got 1 with the Jazz and then 1 with the Heat. There's some stars who never made it to the finals, let alone won a ship.
Stars. If you gotta ask me right off the bat, you know we were in the 90s and early 2000s advocate basketball watchers. So if you gotta say, hey man, I don't even know if you remember this dude, but this is the guy, then he ain't relevant to that team winning.
But guess what? He's relevant today. He's relevant to Cigars and everything else. He's relevant to Vernon's. To me, he'll get a jersey on the wall.
His jersey's
number 49.
It is. His jersey's on the wall.
Shandon Anderson. Only because he gave Pippen the business. Okay?
Yeah.
Only because he gave him hell on the court.
That's true. A lot of people have been giving Pippen the business in life lately. So, you know, it's a lot of jerseys that's going to be going up on the walls pretty soon. But that Scotty's living a rough life these days.
Him and his son.
But so today is the Shandon Anderson episode, man. We're going to get into it. But we got to get into the stars of the show first, man, because we've gone too long without talking about them. Do you have one, or are you picking from multiple options?
I have one. I'll
let you go first.
And I'm journeying back to the Genesis, back to the beginning. The first brand I ever smoked, Romeo y Julieta.
Yeah. Look at that.
Back to Romeo. So with this Romeo, it's the Romeo RYL. I think that's what it is. Some site says L, some site says J. But if you look at the band, that's what the band says. So for anybody who's confused as to why, I'm a little confused.
Hey, brother. I mean, I guess I should have thought about this before we went on air. It's probably a J for Romeo.
It makes sense. It makes sense. But it looks like an L. Some sites say have L, and some sites have a J.
It's got to be a J. That's got to be like just the initials.
That's what I'm thinking. Yeah. So, and this is the Blanco. It's a Blanco. That's what they call it. I didn't even know Cigars did a Blanco.
Yeah.
But we're going to see what makes this cigar special, in a sense. It says Honduras wrapper. Country of origins Honduras. Nicaraguan wrapper. I think I said it right. It's supposed to be a full-body smoke, so we're going to see. I've been coming to be fond of full-body smokes. I used to be a medium to full, but I'm loving that fullness lately. Yeah. So we'll see how that how this bad boy smokes. I'll get into a lot of the we don't really go into the characteristics of it based on the descriptions. Yeah. But in the journey, we're gonna find out. But the descriptions I saw were some nice descriptions that had some really good things I like to look for in cigars. So we're gonna see if this one stays true to it. We're gonna try to call them out. We're gonna see if we can pick up on it.
Cool. What are you pairing with that Blanco cigar?
Oh man, I'm gonna be drinking right now. I have a little tequila. Pour that in my cup. We're gonna finish that off. Once I finish that off, then we'll kind of dial back. We'll have some Sauvignon Blanc. We're gonna go with some nice smooth wine today.
There we go. So for me, I have 2 choices, and one will be this week, and maybe the other be next week, or maybe probably not. I'll probably smoke the other during the week. But my choices are an Ashton Symmetry and a AJ Fernandez New World Connecticut. These what they look like, still in the cellophane. I'm really leaning towards this New World, so I think I'm going to go New World.
I was going to say that one. I was going to say go with that one.
Yeah.
AJ Fernandez, that's one of those names that we spoke on a few episodes ago that we really kind of sleep on that name, man. We sleep on that name. And they've been a solid cornerstone of the cigar world for so many years. Their factories, their construction as far as like how they construct cigars. A lot of people tapping into their business as far as using them to construct their cigars, you know, and just being that staple cornerstone factory of the cigar world. So shout out to AJ Fernandez. Hopefully you have a good one there.
Most definitely. And it says Echo Amano. So this is handmade. You know what I'm saying? So handmade. Even better.
There we go.
100% premium quality. Hey, check it out. I'm pairing it with a little Clase though.
Whoa, hold up.
There we go.
Come on now.
Come on with it now.
Come on, some Clase.
I was feeling good today. You know what I'm saying?
I'm a little jealous, man. I'm a little jealous. So, I didn't clarify my tequila, but I'm still with the Don Julio 70 Cristalino, the Añejo.
I thought there was a reason you didn't clarify, and I didn't ask you. You know, because in most cases, when people say I live in New York, that means they don't live in New York City, or they would say what borough they were from. You know what I'm saying? When people say I live in Cali, they would just say LA if it was from LA. So they live somewhere other than LA. So when you say I'm drinking tequila, I figured it must have been something he didn't want to say the name of. So I didn't even push you for it. I was like, because otherwise you would have said the name if it was something, you know what I'm saying? But
you know what I'm saying? Something about knee height. That's what I'm drinking now.
Yeah, about knee height.
Hey, man, I am really to that point to where if I don't look up on the shelf to pick up my drink, I'm not getting it, man. I gotta look up. If I'm not looking up,
look disappointed.
What are we doing?
Yeah. So I made a mistake and I did not get anything to cut this with, and I don't want to bite it, but I have a cutter nearby. So I'm gonna let you torch and start telling the people how your cigar experience is, and I'll be right back in a moment.
All right, sounds good. All right, y'all. So I went with a straight cut today. I think I got all options available to me right now: straight cut, punch, and V cut. But I think a straight cut would be nice and classic for the day, especially since we're going back to the genesis of the Romeo. You know, let's go. Let's keep it classy. Let's go with that straight cut. Getting toasted, and we're gonna see how this thing is our first light.
What'd you go with, a straight cut?
Yep, straight cut. I was just saying how, you know what I'm saying, we're going with a classic cigar brand, you know, my very first, so we might as well just stick with the classic straight cut, keep it nice and raw, and roll with it that way. So cool. First light, no bite, no pepper off the first puff. Well, you got a torch?
Yeah, but I went with a punch.
Okay. Hey, I did big it. No cedar spills.
You tried to sneak and bick it while I was gone.
I did big it.
I'm gonna match it.
All right, there we go. We're getting a little bit of a bite, and that could be from the torch, but still no pepper. I will say that my description said it was supposed to be full and spicy, so I do want to kind of throw that out there to see how spicy, and if there is spice, how well does it handle the spice? Because we know that's a difference maker. How you handle your characteristics is a big difference from, okay, you got the characteristics and you didn't handle it well, bad cigar, not what I like. But then you can have those things that I don't necessarily like too much or care for, but then still handle it very well to where it's still an enjoyable cigar.
Mm-hmm. There's a big difference in that. I'm going to tell you right off the bat, I'm picking up on 3 qualities, and they all jump out back to back. The very first thing I pick up on is like, and it might be more in the smell of it, but there's a cedar type smell that I'm picking up on. Then immediately I get hit with spice right afterwards.
Immediately, okay.
Immediately there's a spice, but then there's like a creaminess to the smoke that I'm smelling also. Like so, but the spice is all I'm really tasting. But the cedar and the creaminess I kind of pick up in the smell of it so far. So
that does that help deal with the spice? Help you deal with the spice a lot better?
Not yet, because it was a lot of spice right now, right off the bat. It didn't seem, it was a lot. It was. At first, it felt like it was going to be subtle, but then it was like, oh no, it just keep coming.
Sorry, intensifying.
Yeah.
So let me ask you this though. So if you have a spicy cigar that you're not expecting to be spicy or expecting to be spicy, do you have a tactic? Because what I've learned personally, and I don't know if I'm jumping into your tactic that I just asked you about, but let my cigar burn for a couple of minutes. Getting it going, puffing it. Getting that heat in there and then letting it burn for about a good minute, 2 minutes, and then go back to it.
No, I don't have a tactic, man. I'm really a bit of a Neanderthal when it comes to stuff like that, man. Like I just go head up and deal with it. Like even with any challenge in life, if I think I'm gonna lose, I just go head up. It's like, all right, let me take my L like a man. Like so that's what I'm doing with this. Like
hey. And this second cigar basics question.
Mm-hmm.
I don't pay attention to you when you smoke cigars. I don't think I've ever paid attention to your puff habit, puff rate. All the cigars that we've either smoked on the podcast or smoked together. But do you consciously think about how often you're puffing your cigar? Do you ever get in your head with that?
Sometimes I do. Sometimes I get in my head, yeah.
And I was wondering if it's just a me thing. Cause like, man, I puffed this like 5 times, like back to back to back. I kind of, especially if we're like in a cigar lounge.
Yeah.
Like, man, I'm being a little too overzealous. Is overzealous the word? But,
start feeling like you're smoking a cigarette if you start puffing too often.
Yeah. So like, let me let my cigar chill for a second, Cause like I've always learned, especially this is great talking about the very first cigar I ever had. Ever since that first cigar, learning cigar etiquette. You don't sit there and just pull off your cigar. You're supposed to let your cigar burn a little bit, take a puff every minute and a half, minute or so. Not every 25 seconds, every 15 seconds, puff and puff and puff. And I find myself doing that sometimes. I get in my head like, hold up, am I looking like a weirdo?
Yeah, like you're smoking a joint.
Yeah. I gotta get a pull. Or am I letting my cigar chill? And sometimes I'll be thinking about that, so like not just subconsciously, but consciously. Man, hold on, let me let my cigar chill for a little bit.
I think for me, more in the beginning of the cigar is when I'm constantly going back to back, and some of that's just making sure that your burn is going, that you're good.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then after that, I'll let it chill. But my first third, I'm usually just puffing away during my first third, to be honest. So I guess maybe I am just a little anxious. And then by the time we get going into that second third, I'm like, all right.
Kind of ease up a little bit.
I ease up. I'm in the zone. You know what I'm saying? I done got my excitement out, and now I'm just in the flow of things. So, I mean, it could be that.
Yeah. Okay. I was thinking, is it just me, or do other cigar enthusiasts, cigars and smokers do the same thing that I do? Asking you that question, I never thought to ask you that question. I never even thought to pay attention to your habits or anything like that. But yeah, I definitely do that, man. That's definitely a thing of mine. And sometimes I feel like I need a break, and sometimes I don't care. Sometimes I feel like, man, let me relax a little bit. I'm doing too much.
Yeah, I think I probably puff more than you, because when we do the show, mine don't ever go out really. Yours be going out sometime. I think you be giving yours more of a break than I do. So I'm probably a more consistent puffer than you. If I had to guess, it ain't just that I got better cigars. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm just
my cigars never burn out.
Yeah. That'd be my guess, though. So, before we went on air, you know, we had a topic that you were about to get into with me. Because it all started, you know, I'm just killing time and I started going, atomically, phosphophies and hot pot, whatever the man said. You know, I get into that forever, that Inspector Deck, you know, and I started rapping his verse. What was it? Forever? Is that what the name of the song was?
Well, that's the name of the album, Triumph.
Triumph. Yeah, Triumph. Yeah, Wu-Tang. Yeah, Forever was the name of the album. Yeah, Triumph. I started rapping Triumph, Inspector Deck's verse. And, you know, then you start talking about Jizza. And, you know, I've been hard on Jizza in the past. You know, you've been very favorable on Jizza. So you about to tell me something that you concede to regarding Jizza.
Yeah. All right.
Because I've been saying that man ain't no genius, he'll overrated. And look, if Jizza ever was to hit, it's as a fan, brother. It's not you personally. You're a smart dude. I listen to you in interviews, man. But rhyme wise, I'm not the biggest fan. It's too complex for me, man. You know?
So let me say this. Okay, so I'm a hip hop guy. Always have been, always will be. And if you're a hip hop guy, especially if you grew up in the 90s, you loved Wu-Tang. Mm-hmm. You had to. Well, if you didn't love them, you had to respect them and understand that these guys were all juggernauts as a team, as a group, and individually. And of course, I've always had a favorite at different times. At one point, Raekwon was my favorite. At one point, Ghostface was my favorite. Yeah. At one point, Meth was my favorite. Even at one point, ODB was my favorite. Even when he was Dirt McGirt, I used to ride Dirt McGirt all the time. Oh, shoot. And Inspector Deck. Never You God. You God
was better than Jizza. What do you mean?
you God never made it to my favorite rotation.
And get out of here.
Genius was one of my favorites at one point in time, and this is particularly while we were in college together, or somewhere around that time. And I'm like, yo, you hear this? You hear this Animal joint? This and that? Like this man, this Jizza is truly a genius. And I was just so hype about what he was doing, right?
Yeah.
And I conceded a little while ago before we got on air. And he's like, you know what, man? I loved it in his time. And if I go back now, not saying I can't appreciate it, but what I love it the same. And it's like, even like with some other songs that you used to hear, whether it was a Ghostface song, does it still feel the same and resonate the same as it used to? And I would probably say, nah, that was me for the moment. And I've kind of learned to appreciate some of the simplisticness of artists and understanding like, hey, sometimes like, yes, that's not all the way necessary all the time. And it doesn't always speak to greatness because you can put some words together that don't necessarily, but I will admit that he does have some songs that do like really, that are masterfully crafted, in my opinion. But I did consider to say, you know what I'm saying, the level of greatness that I gave certain things in that time, I probably wouldn't give it the same kind of credence now.
Yeah.
20-some years later.
It's not effective communication, if we're being honest. Just because you...
why do we need all these words? Like, why do we need all these words? And I'm a hip-hop guy, and that's what we learned back, especially in the 90s. Words, man. Like, some of you try to look at a dictionary, and some of it sound like, man, you're just reading words out of a dictionary and just trying to put them together, and this sound good with this one, and that one sound good with that one. But what kind of sense is it really making? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. That's all it was. It was just too much. It was over the top. You know what I'm saying? Just to prove that you can put a lot of words together, but it's not necessarily effective. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's just complicated for no reason. It's like food, just too much seasoning. Yeah.
Too much seasoning.
There's a fine line to delicious and overly seasoned. You know what I'm saying? And that's what he was doing. He was overly seasoning and stuff, you know.
Yeah. So, you know, like I said, I conceded. You know what? I gave you the white flag to say, you know what? I get it. And
Like,
as avid as I was back then, I get it.
like Nas was somebody who was perfect, was always a perfectly seasoned plate. Like he walked that line perfectly. You know what I'm saying? Like
He can give you a Uchi Wally and then give you a one mic. And then even if he gave you a one mic, the one mic still wasn't too
you got it.
over your head.
Yeah. You got
You know what
it.
I'm saying?
Even when he was being complex, you still could get it. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
he masterfully walked that line of complex, simple complexities. You know what I'm saying? I don't know if that's, you know, with all due respect to the GOAT. I don't know. You know what I'm saying? I'm trying to put it politely, but he did a good job,
I
man.
I get you. And I don't know if it's me getting older and just like, why do I need all of this? It's just too much for my brain right now. That could be it.
Nah, that ain't it. It ain't it. I realized that back then during the era. And I realized it when we weren't in the simple era. It's like, yo, what is this dude talking about? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah.
So it ain't that you was too old. You know what I'm saying? It's just you look back and you say, you know what? That era was a little bit much. Like we look back at them big clothes and we say, you know what? That was stupid. We shouldn't have been wearing our clothes that big. That's all it is. You look back with a grown up
was not necessary.
Yeah, you look back and you say that was okay. We could have wore it baggy, but we didn't need to be that baggy. You know what I'm saying?
Baggy.
Like,
yeah.
Yeah, and that's what you're doing with the raps now. You look back at that era when people was doing that and you're like, all right, that was a bit much, man. We ain't have to go that far with it. Like,
all right, well, let me ask you this. I don't know if we talked about this on the show, if we talked about this just personally. But going back, looking at some of 50 Cent's older records before Get Rich or Die Trying, man, my man was barred up. Cameron, before your Come Home With Me era.
Yeah.
Even before Confessions of Fire. Like super barred up.
Right.
Crazy witty with however he was putting his words together. And then deciding to, you know what, simplify things a great deal. Like, I'm talking about a great deal. 50 Cent went super simple with a lot of his rhymes. Cameron went super simple with a lot of his rhymes. But then I'm seeing some older footage, it's like, y'all not, these guys, they had that Nas, that Common, that Pharoah Monch in a sense in them.
Yeah.
But then ultimately deemed, you know what? It's not necessary. Let me go this route. Ross.
Yeah.
Before Ross actually ended up going back being a little bit more lyrical later on.
Yeah, he dumbed down too much. He was like, you know what? Let me add a little more to the pot. And he found the perfect mix. Like,
yeah. So, I mean, I like to see it, but then at the same time, older me is looking back like, you know, it's not all that necessary. It's not all that. That's good. That's what you want. I mean, that's cool for the sport, but we don't need all of that.
But look, Cam get a hard rap for how dumbed down he was, but Cam bars, what he was actually saying in them might have been dumbed down, but his actual rhyme structures never dumbed down too much. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like he still kept his rhyme structures complicated, but it was just the actual words. His conversation was now dumbed down. You know what I'm saying? Like, and that's where everybody always get on the computer computing. Like, you know, he kept the rhyme structures. You know what I'm saying? Like, like putting a lot of words together, but he just won't talk about nothing like he was early on. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But
do you appreciate that? You personally? Not saying what is needed to grab the masses, but you personally, do you prefer for artists to dumb themselves down in that sense?
It depends on where they at. You know what I'm saying? Like, and how far they gonna dumb it down. Like with 50 Cent, I wish he would have either, if he was going, I'm not mad that he dumbed it down, but I wish he'd have tapped back into that other side a little more often. You know what I'm saying? A little more often, yeah. Yeah, because 50 went really simple. You know, like I said, to me, Cam didn't go as simple, but what he was saying was like, let's thought into it. But he still made sure he put his words together in a unique
honestly,
way.
I think at some point 50 Cent didn't even care about rhyme structure.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Let me get these songs off.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So I wish 50
Turn the
would
beat on. I'm gonna say something on it. Ain't no rhyme structure. I'm gonna say some words that rhyme, some words that don't make sense, some words that whatever. But I got this voice, and the voice is gonna carry. I got this dope beat, and I got this voice, and those things is what's gonna carry.
Yeah,
and I think that's what that's. Yeah, I'm me, and this is gonna be enough. What I'm saying and how I'm saying it doesn't mean as much to me as who's saying it, on what beat I'm saying it on, and the voice that's coming across that's saying it. That's all I need. Winning formula. I'm gonna win every time. And I think maybe that's why he didn't last super, super on top as he could have if he would have visited that and said, no, I still got bars now. Y'all, we can make these songs and these songs gonna do what they do, but now I still got this. And I think that's why Nas has always kind of been around the way he has. Even Jay-Z. Jay-Z didn't necessarily dumb it down. He went with a more commercial sound, but then also let you know that I can still get with you with the bars.
Mm-hmm. So, with that being said, we're gonna stay on this topic, and I got to concede to something also.
Okay.
I've gone back to an artist who is one of the greats, and I have to concede that after about 2000, maybe from about 2002 on, catalog is a little overrated. Them songs don't hit like they used to when you go back and listen to them. And I enjoyed them during the time that they were out, but when I listen to them now, they kind of whack to me when I hear them.
Hold on, who we talking about?
You just said his name.
One of the greats.
Yeah.
We're talking about Jay-Z.
Jay-Z.
Oh, really?
His catalog after about 2002, maybe 3. That stuff kind of weak when I hear it now, man. I went back and listened to some old music, and and Summer 2. You know what I'm saying? Some of them songs just don't. Yeah, like some of that stuff just don't sound the same. When he retired, it started. Remember Diamonds Are Forever by Kanye?
Yeah.
I heard that remix on the radio, and I was like, Kanye really smoked this dude. Like, and I was listening to Jay Verse, and I'm like, that's kind of whack. But I thought he killed it when it came out. Like, and then
because it was Jay-Z. That was it.
It was Jay-Z, and I started listening to more of his stuff post that time frame, and I'm like,
it's like, what are you saying?
He kind of been whack. You know what I'm saying? This is blasphemy to a lot of hip hop people. You know, there's gonna be some people mad that ain't gonna agree with this.
Yeah.
But the brother catalog for the last 20 years. It's kind of.
Hold on, you know what? I would even dare to say Black.
I like
Album.
American Gangster though. I did like American.
Yeah, I was gonna say American Gangster, but you know what? You know, American Gangster, his content was straight, but even some of what he was saying on Black Album wasn't all that great to me. I like the songs.
That's why I reluctantly say 2002. I keep saying 2, and I'm like kind of hesitant to add 3 because some of that Black Album wasn't that good. Like when I listen back to it.
See, the difference with the Black Album and Jay-Z's bars versus the production top notch. You went and got some of the greatest producers, especially during that time. You had Tim, you had Pharrell, you had Just Blaze. Was Kanye on that one?
Yeah, he was. Lucifer,
he was on that one?
And something else.
Yeah, right. You're right. Yeah. So the beats were dope.
Yeah.
But a lot of what he was saying didn't really amount to much to me. I love the album. Don't get me wrong. I love the album. The Black Album, I rolled with a bunch of them songs. Swiss Beats. He had a couple songs, especially by Swiss Beats, that I would throw in the Honda Accord back then and roll to it. But at the same time, it's like, it's okay. It was just okay to me. And back then, you know, it was always the Nas versus Jay-Z debate. And it was one side of the fence versus the other side of the fence. Either you was a Jay-Z guy or you was a Nas guy. It wasn't too much in between. And everybody looked at Nas and said, well, Nas, your production isn't all that great. but what you're saying on these beats are dope, but just the beats don't match what you're saying.
Yeah.
Then Jay-Z, to me, was the flip side. The beats were dope, but what you're saying on these beats don't match.
Yeah.
Like, the beats were better than your bars to me, and Nas's bars were better than the beats to me.
Yeah. And I probably, in that time frame, would have leaned Jay-Z, but like, yeah, you're forcing me to choose, but I'm gonna lean Jay-Z. In retrospect, Nas won. Like, you know what I'm saying? In retrospect,
Wow.
You know what I'm saying?
Because here's the crazy thing, like, if you go back over Nas
the way
catalog,
that music ages, Nas won. Dirt Off Your Shoulders, his verses ain't that good. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's
but you play Godson and you pick any song off of that, to me, personally, outdoes Black Album.
Yeah, man. A lot of Jay stuff.
Nostradamus in a
when I hear it.
Really?
Yeah. The flow, all of that. Yeah.
Lost Tapes, so outdoes a couple of them blueprints. Nostradamus wasn't that bad. You go back and listen to Nostradamus today, feels a whole lot better than some of those Jay-Z albums if I listen to today.
I like Nostradamus in the moment. I was kind of shocked how much hate it got. I did like Nostradamus.
Oh, you were one of the few who liked it in the moment.
In the moment, yeah, I did like it.
Nice. Okay, I never knew that.
I didn't love it in the moment, but I didn't have all that hate. I didn't. I might not have stood up for it in the moment in front of people because I just didn't have the type of confidence to do it. But I didn't mind Nostradamus in the moment. I thought that I liked it, man. It was right after I Am, right? I Am, Nostradamus, and Stillmatic, right?
Yep.
Yeah, I was cool with it. Now he came out with Stillmatic. He killed it, and it was like, whoo. But
Stillmatic was crazy.
Stillmatic was crazy. But Blueprint came out in 2001 around that same time, and Blueprint still is good. But that's like the end of
Blueprint,
it.
Yeah, Blueprint was good. Yeah, but Blueprint 2 wasn't as great as I thought people were saying it was. No. And Blueprint 3 definitely wasn't good at all. I don't think it was good at all.
Yeah, Blueprint 2 was and that's why I say Blueprint 2 was the beginning of the end for him, because he had a few hits on it and a lot of misses along the way.
But I think what it was that Jay-Z, he relied heavily on those hits. You had some hits and they went, and it's all she wrote. You know, you got enough songs on the album, you get at least 3 or 4 of those songs to really go. That'll carry all the songs. And one of them was a double album too, right?
Blueprint 2 was a double album. 2 was a double album.
So a lot of songs, but how many songs do I really remember?
Should have been.
And we can say the same thing. We can go and say about Nas, and Nas's Street's Disciple was a double album.
Yeah.
Should have made that a single album.
Should have been a single, yeah.
If you would take all the great songs from Street's Disciple and just make it into one album, same thing with Blueprint 2. Make it into one album, you probably would have had a classic. Could
have been, yeah. Everybody can't do the double album, man. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like,
I think, let me ask you this.
What's up?
Let me ask you this. What were you about to say? You about to go into like who was able to pull it off?
Yeah, I said Pac pulled it off, but Pac had a purpose behind his double album. It was to get me off death row as soon as possible.
Right. So who do you feel pulled off the double album the best so far? Was it Biggie, Life After Death?
Yeah.
All Eyes on Me?
Wu
Forever?
Those are all classic double albums, man. Wu-Tang Forever was a good double album. I haven't gone back to it though. You know what I'm saying?
I might want to revisit that one. Because Life After Death, I have revisited Life After Death within like the last year or two, year and a half or so. All Eyes on Me, I don't even feel like I need to revisit that one. I played that album so much. I don't need to revisit that album at all.
Yeah.
I don't consider Speaker Box Love Below a double album.
Nah.
Even though it was
two solo albums.
Not a double album.
Two separate solo albums. But it was a good double album if you want to categorize it as that, but it's not that to me either. I'd have to revisit Life After Death also, because my gut just off of is to keep it where I remember it, but you never know. You know what I'm saying? All of these albums could have been better if you condensed them. You know what I'm saying? Even All Eyes on Me would have been better if you condensed it. It had a few little ones that was like you'll skip.
But yeah, but if you're gonna do a double album, I don't think between those three, I don't think you could have done a better with the minimized misses that you've had. All Eyes on Me minimize the misses.
It might be the greatest double album of all time. Yeah.
Will Forever minimize misses.
Yeah. All three did from my memory of them. Like, and what they meant to me at the times. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know, man. It like, even if you get into Life After Death or All Eyes on Me, I don't know which one is the better one. You know what I'm saying? I want to say All Eyes on Me because of how much replay value it had in my life at a time. You know what I'm saying? But at the same time, and not just me, the people around me. You know what I'm saying? But Life After Death was the same thing. So it's like, I don't know, man. I don't know. That's a tough one. Like,
it's rare for any artist to be able to pull off a double album. We've seen so many great artists try to do it. Your Jay-Z, your Nas, and whatnot. It's very, very tough to pull off a double album.
Life After Me had a lot of skits in it, though. You know, which helped.
It did.
Move it along.
Keep moving it along. Yeah.
Yeah.
Happy People.
You Saved
Me. Was a great double album.
It was.
But in a different vein, though, of course, it's R&B. But then you had the R&B and gospel, the Steppers. I love that album. But anyway,
it was a great double album.
Just give it what it is.
What you talking about? It was a great double album. You know what I'm saying? Whoever got something to say about it. You know what I'm saying? Kiss My Behind. It was a great double album.
Happy People, You Save Me was a great double album.
Where the skips at? It was a double
skips.
album.
No skips. On the Stepper side and the gospel side. No skips, man. No skips. But R. Kelly's one of the ones who could pull it off too. Even if he didn't do two different genres on the album, he could probably pull off a double album just by doing R&B.
R was the double album.
Oh!
R was a double album, bro. What are we talking about? What are we talking about? R
was a double album. It was.
What are we talking about? R was a double album.
Great, and it was great. And it was. So my man got two double albums, and they both were great.
And I revisited R in the last 2 months.
Etc. Don't Put Me Out. One Man. Home Alone. The joint with Noriega and Jay-Z and all them guys who was on it.
Only the Loop Can Make Me Happy.
Whatever that song was we had with Nas.
Up on a Room. Bro. Bro.
I forgot about R.
Bro, you gonna listen to it when we get off the show.
I'm about to listen to it.
Bro, you gonna listen to it when we get off the show. Yeah, it's like that. But
man,
yeah.
So the question, where I was trying to get to before you completely derailed me.
Sorry about that.
For the good derail, I needed that. I needed that splash of water in my face. Wake up! What are you talking about? What are you thinking?
Right.
But is there any artists, including Drake, or I'll even say, is there any space for it now for artists today to do double albums and do a great double album? As hard as it is to pull off,
they can't do it because they have to make two different genres in order to do it today.
So.
Yeah, and it'd have to be like a eight song on each album, you know,
on both sides.
Yeah, you know, both sides, and one's gonna be this type of music. And this
let me ask you this though.
Drake could do it. Say that? He could sing and rap. You know, he could do it.
With the albums that Chris Brown did and a couple other artists that got these 20-song albums, would you dare to say that these albums are pretty much double albums?
Yeah. Could have been. They chose not to. But it was different. It was a different era where people was putting out that many songs on one album. They could have made it a double in today's standard when an album's 10 songs.
But now I'm thinking, can't do double albums? Could they even exist? Because we don't buy hard disc copies anymore.
Yeah, it's pointless.
It makes sense. Everything, it's pointless.
Unless you just...
So in order to do...
Deal.
In order to do a double album, you would have to do 2 different genres. And did Drake do a double album?
Not that I recall.
Scorpion. Was that a double album?
Didn't he have a mixtape that was like a double disc mixtape though, or something like that? I can't remember. I just
know Scorpion had a lot of songs on it.
You know who should have did a double album though? In reality, is Beyonce, because her music.
She did do one. Beyonce did do one.
Sasha and the other girl, whatever it is.
Yeah, it was to me. I didn't like it. Yeah. I stopped. Okay.
That's true. Come on, because yeah. I don't win it. Jay-Z, go with her. Go with his wife. Go with his wife.
Both of them. Boy, somebody gonna step on stage and slap us, man. Come on now.
Hey man,
I stopped listening to Beyonce.
It is what it is.
After maybe her second album, like I don't know what it is about her. And this is okay. So let me give you a background real quick.
She didn't grow up with her audience. That's why you didn't listen to it no more.
True. Maybe you're right. But I come from a cloth of music lovers who invest in artists and music, and really like my dad has always collected. You look at his record collection, massive record collection through the 60s and 70s, massive tape collections through the 80s and early 90s, massive CD collection. Yeah. And we're talking about artists from the 60s all the way to the 2000s. My dad had it all, right? Yeah. So what he taught me through his music collection was the idea of growing with artists. You know what I'm saying? He had Isley Brothers albums, Isley Brothers tapes, Isley Brothers CDs. Okay? Right. And I have always wanted to journey with artists. And he bought Destiny Child's album back in the late 90s or whatever. My pops, right? Destiny Child. My pops bought Destiny Child's album. So while he's in the whip or at the house, he's playing Destiny Child. My dad, because he just loves music, right? And he always would try to get the newest of the new. You know what I'm saying? Back then when they had like the Columbia House joints where you get the 10 whatever, he was always loading up. So the Tyrese's, the Ushers, the this, the that, the R. Kellys, of course, he had them.
Just like people are movie addicts, like movie people who just check out every movie that comes out. He was like that for music.
He was like that with music. And I adopted the same thing, or at least attempted to. But it's become increasingly difficult to do that and be that now. And Beyonce fell into that category of I don't enjoy listening to your music anymore.
It's a shame too. First album was so good. You know what I'm saying? Like,
first album, second album was good too.
Yeah,
like just on a straight R&B tip of loving R&B, loving good music, good artistry, and somebody being as huge of a juggernaut as Beyonce, and you lose me as an audience. And she did that. Like, depending on where she would have went with how she approached music and approached songs, could have kept me in that same vein as a lot of the other artists, especially as you're active. Like Mary J. Blige, she can always pick me up. You know what I'm saying? I can always go and willingly try to check out this Mary J. Blige. Because 9 times out of 10, I feel like she's going to deliver.
Right.
And I feel like Beyonce, she does maybe deliver to whatever that audience is that I guess she might have created the audience. Yeah. Stayed on board, yeah. And maybe she might cater to that. But as just an avid music lover, you lose me. Especially after the second album. Second album was dope too. But by the time you got to, I think Sasha Fierce was the third album, right? It was the third album. And after that, you just lost me. I even tried to get into the Lemonade and try to listen to that. You know what I'm saying? But it's just not for me. Right. Like I don't feel like you have tapped back into those ones who were down for you through the album number 1 and 2 and part of 3.
Yeah. Which, taking it back to Nas, which is why he's been so still relevant. Let's use that word for relevant to his audience.
Which we talked about before. Yeah.
Yes. Because he maintained, hey, I'm feeding the people that support me. You know what I mean? And
Even after you venture out. Even after you venture out.
Yeah.
Like,
that's all you gotta do. Just tap back in with the people that like you.
To be experimental, R. Kelly was great with that too. To be experimental in music, but then to periodically come back and check in. Like, Life is Good was kind of experimental in a sense.
Yeah.
Distant Relatives with Damian Marley was very experimental, but was great to me. As just a regular hip hop and a music lover.
Yeah.
Did a great job artistically. But then to come back with the King's Diseases that he came back with, to tap in with that Stillmatic that he tapped in with, you know, certain things that you do to keep your core audience going. R. Kelly double up. No, not for me. But then you follow that with the Love Letter. Come on,
Love
man.
Letter, yeah.
You tap back in. You tap back into the Steppers joint, who's also the people who love the happy people. What you call it? You come back with the Love Letter and the Write Me Back. And then now after that, you follow with the Black Panthers.
Stepping out too, though. You know what I'm saying? So
it was, but then it became so huge that now I got to cater to this audience. But I'm gonna circle back. I'm gonna come back with the Black Panties. I'm gonna give you a little bit of that, and I'm gonna come back with this. I'm moving my audience along. Whichever audience I might have picked up, especially when you become that huge and you've done that so much in your catalog, and to still be able to tap into what you gain new. And I think that's what Beyonce might have done wrong is she tapped into an audience that was new and she created the Beehive, but then forgot about the other ones over here who was rocking with you too.
She wasn't doing enough music to be able to satisfy all her audiences, so she just kind of let go of the other one and was like, "All right,
now it's just like, oh, I got my Beehive. They ride with me. They ride or die, like for real. That's it. Y'all just getting Beehive music from now on."
Yeah. Yeah, it's true. Hey, man, speaking of R. Kelly and Jay-Z, you know, because we've talked about them both in this conversation. I have recently tried to find that Best of Both Worlds album, man. It's been scrubbed off the internet. Yeah.
Wow.
It's been scrubbed off the internet. Jay-Z's quite the businessman. He got rid of it.
Which, you know what, doesn't surprise me. Because especially as you become somebody like Jay-Z, and then the disdain that he's had for the gentleman that is R. Kelly, why not? It's just, to me, well, I guess since you have so much money, you don't need that money from Best of Both Worlds. But I guess business is business. And you got enough pull to say, you know what, no, get rid of that. I don't associate with that guy at all, even before what happened a couple of years ago.
Yeah. Some of them songs is the last of his good era, though.
I believe it. I agree.
So he should have probably kept some of those up there. Like, you know what I'm saying? But they go.
One and two. The Unfinished Business.
Unfinished Business.
I went to the show. I went to the show. And that was a hell of a show they put together. I enjoyed it thoroughly. But I don't know. I feel like you should capitalize on that. Like, that was some really good music that they did back then.
Yeah, man. It's gone, man. It's gone. But Fiesta's still online. But that was R. Kelly's song, right?
Yeah, it was on. Yeah. Consider it. Yeah. I guess so. He doesn't own that. So I guess whatever Jive or Sony, they own that.
Yeah, he can't.
So he really probably didn't have any say of whether that goes or not. You can't get rid of Fiesta. Come on, you can't get rid of Fiesta. That's probably that's probably R. Kelly's one of his. Is that probably arguably his biggest songs?
Nah, I Believe I Can Fly.
Between that and Ignition? Well, I mean, outside of I Believe I Can Fly, of course, we know I Believe I Can Fly. That was genre type of music. I'm talking about in the hip hop R&B vein. Like, is it arguably one of his most recognizable songs?
Fiesta that crossed over. I feel like we're missing something bigger than that.
I think Ignition might be his probably his most recognizable
Ignition
song.
remix. Ignition remix. You don't think so?
I think that might be it. But I think Fiesta's probably really close.
I'm a Flirt might be bigger than Fiesta. I don't know.
It's hard to say now. You know what? Like usually what I would do is go to YouTube or something and look at the count.
Check the views,
you can't even do that right now. Yeah, you can't do that because this stuff been deleted and added back so many times.
Yeah, that's true. That's a very interesting question. I know his catalog is so big that we're definitely missing something. I don't know, man.
We know all the songs from the 90s, but I really think like that early 2000 era, anything that he dropped around that early 2000 era was probably like that his peak of appearance for like different generations and different genres and across the world, globe, and all that stuff. Type of reach. And it started around Fiesta to Ignition.
Say, man.
Between
Fiesta,
that block,
Ignition, Feeling on Your Booty, any of those might be, could have potentially been in. I don't know. I don't know. Would you? Nah, I was gonna say I wish. I know that definitely won't. If Fiesta was
no. I mean, like for us, I'm pretty sure for us. I'm gonna say for you, for myself, and anybody else within our cultural realm. Yeah, it's probably one of his, most revered songs. We love, we love, what I'm saying, that joint. But cross generation, cross global or whatever, probably not that one.
Yeah, I'm trying to go back to that era, man. I'm just thinking, but I can't. I don't know. When we get off air, man, I'm gonna have to do some research, man. I know we're missing something that ain't coming to my mind at the moment, but yeah, it's possible. Hey, look, man, we done almost ran through this whole hour, man. We might as well get into the cigar reviews at this point in time.
Right. we have. Usually we'll do a midway cigar review for those if you haven't checked out the podcast before, and we kind of missed that, or at least where we're at the.
Last few episodes, we missed it. It might be canceled. That segment.
We gotta make sure we get to the cigars. But it's cool.
The intro's
like
been
these
long,
conversations, man. Sometimes we get like to these conversations. It's all good. That's and this is what happens in cigar lounges, man. Sometimes you just get wrapped up in that conversation or whatever you're having. This is when it comes to the cigar world. This is our barbershop.
Right. Most definitely. So I'll go first. I'm gonna say this New World that I have here, New World, Connecticut, and you see the color on that thing too. That's falling within that color range that we kind of be like about. You know what I'm saying?
And then you say Connecticut, right? So the rapper's Connecticut.
Yes, Connecticut rapper.
Okay.
Thing about to go out on me too, but I'm gonna go with about a 3.8 on that. You know what I'm saying? We go 1 to 5 as a score.
And 3.8 is not bad, not great.
Not bad, not great. Anything over 4 falls in great category. 3, dead average. So this was on the verge of being great, but it was just good. You know what I'm saying? For me, not a lot of change within it. It was. The spice did go away where it wasn't as predominant as it was in the beginning. The spice ended up becoming something that was much more dialed back and just kind of like a little mild thing in the background. And I would say the creamy cedar ended up being the predominant notes that I picked up on. Right. With just a little bit of spice on it, man. It was no change to it, which is why it prevented it from going to that next level and going into the 4 range. But it was good. I enjoyed it for what it was, but it just didn't have enough change in it for me personally, which is why I can't put it in the 4 category.
Before I go into mine, let me ask you this. I don't know about you. I think you mentioned it before, but I'm not the biggest fan of Connecticut rappers. Do you think the Connecticut rapper plays a role or made the cigar what it was for it to get that 3.8 range? Like the Connecticut rapper?
I have not been attentive enough to noticing the difference in a Connecticut rapper versus, something else, a Nicaraguan or yeah, something like that. So I haven't paid attention to it. You know what I'm saying? Enough. Now that you bring that to my attention, I'll probably be more aware when I get a Connecticut rapper to see what my experience is like. but I had noticed it before, so I can't say.
I've been coaching this young man lately, who's become an avid cigar smoker over the last few months. Like he's about to get out the military, and he just recently started to enjoy cigars at a huge astronomical level. Like I sent me a picture this morning of all the cigars. New humidor, got a humidor that's probably about 4 feet high. It looks like 3 or 4 feet high, like a mini fridge type of humidor. Plus, then he went bought some other smaller humidors. I went to go see him a few weeks ago. He was like, "Hey, son, can you show me these what kind of humidor I should get?" And I've been just enjoying cigars. He was throwing cigars at me, cigars I never heard of before. And keep in mind, I think I might do this for episode 50. This leaguer provided the H99. He found it for me. I've been searching for that H99 for a while. You see how your eyebrows raised? And he said, "Hey, I know exactly where the H99 is." I'm like, "Are you serious? Wow, I got to go get it." So that might be the cigar I'm smoking for episode number 50 in celebration of our golden episode.
Hey, man, don't stall on that either, man. Go get that right away. I know you go pop up Saturday before we record and go get it, man. Please go get that on time, man.
That legal provided H99, right? And we were talking about rappers, and Connecticut rappers came up, and I mentioned to him like, I'm not a big fan of Connecticut rappers, X, Y, and Z. And then he, didn't know too much about the differences, and he went. I was talking about the Maduro, the Nicaraguans, and like the different types of feel that they give, how they carry the cigar. And he smoked a couple Connecticut's, and he smoked a couple other types, and he's like, "You know what? I'm not a big fan of Connecticut either. I just realized that. Thank you for that tidbit." And my soapbox thing, nothing against anybody who loves Connecticut rappers. It's always something for everybody. But just Connecticut rappers just aren't for me. And it wasn't for this young man who I was coaching too. And I'm just thinking, like, when you mentioned Connecticut, it just reminded me, like, hold up. Similar conversation I was having. And that might be why the cigar didn't carry the way it did carry. It's just something about Connecticut rappers that just doesn't do it for me.
You might be right. This very well could have been a lot better with a Maduro rapper. I don't know. You know what I'm saying? And I think they offer this New World in a Maduro rapper. So I might have to go back and get the New World in Maduro just to compare and contrast.
Mm-hmm.
Something to
that
consider.
Might be good. It might, definitely something to consider. But just think about that. But that's something I was just mentioning. And when you mentioned the Connecticut rapper, I'm like, I think that might be it. Because I was just talking about that a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, it was, I don't want to call it underwhelming, but it was just something missed. It just missed the mark for me. You know what I'm saying? Like,
that's what Connecticut rappers do for me. Like, it just doesn't carry the cigar along the way I feel like it should.
Yeah, I see the potential in it. I've had a New World before that I enjoyed, but I don't remember what the rapper was, but it definitely wasn't the Connecticut one. This is my first time having this one, so it very well could be the Connecticut rapper, brother. Now that you mentioned it, you might be onto something.
Yeah, man. All right, so this Romeo y Julieta, we're gonna call this the RYJ.
I'm very curious about this too, man, because you ain't said nothing about it the whole time, and I'm like,
oh no. I'm just I did start off with this that it's supposed to be a spicy cigar, so that's where I'm gonna go. So I'll start first. Yeah. So it was the smoke is full, very good, full creamy smoke. I don't know if you guys noticed that throughout the smoke, throughout the show. But yeah, very good, thick, quality smoke, which is what I love. And the spice, after that first few puffs, dial back. I got a lot of molasses in there, which I'm actually starting to enjoy molasses in my cigars a lot lately. And I think that might be something I'll look forward to. It's just something subtle and just smooth about molasses, kind of in the back of your palate that's, covering everything else.
You ain't got none in your cupboard or in your refrigerator.
I don't.
I do. You ain't no Southern boy. You ain't no Southern boy. Where your molasses at?
Where your molasses at? But yeah, definitely I get some molasses off of this cigar, and I'm starting to really enjoy molasses. A few cigars I've had in a recent past have had that molasses undertone, and this is right there in line with that. I'm really enjoying that subtleness. A lot of woodiness, a lot of earthiness, not much pepper, even though it's said it was spicy, not much spice, not much pepper. Handled it very well, very well. And my wrapper's a little darker, so that might be an A. I don't know. We gotta find that out. We gotta find that out. But yeah, it did really well, really well. I'm gonna give this cigar 4.0.
Okay.
4.0 as to where I'm at right now, only because it did surprise me with the spice and how well it handled what was supposed to be spicy. And if it is a spicy cigar, like they said it's supposed to be, and I did get that spice, and the way it kind of just moved out and dialed back to the background, or at least allowed the molasses to be a good undertone to the spice, just made it good. It's kind of like how you have like a sweet and spicy.
Yeah.
And that sweet and spicy kind of like makes that spice not so bad. It's like, it's just, oh man, this is a good sweet spicy mix. So like the molasses and spice might be a good go. So if you see a cigar that might have some molasses, but then also spicy, based on this cigar, I'm thinking that might be a good combination. It might be a good combination with some molasses and some spice. So I'll be willing to journey into that and see about if that's something that's consistent with that description of a type of cigar. But yeah, we're gonna stick with a 4.0. Romeo Julieta, you delivered with this one.
That's
we know
solid.
they do some really good cigars. Yeah, solid, very solid, very solid.
Yeah, most definitely. All right, well, that is the Shandon Anderson episode. Episode 49. Hey, Shandon, your jersey's on the wall, bro. And let's go ahead and wrap this out, man. Wrap this up. That's the end of the episode. We appreciate y'all for tuning in to this week's episode of the Cigars and Everything Else podcast. We'll get with y'all next week. I'll keep the cigars up.
Yes, sir.